Hiya, and welcome back to Sileo Tales of a New Dawn. The game that teaches us... The game that teaches us that being angry at your ex is perfectly okay if they've been hiding secrets. Honestly, I don't know. I swear to God, I need to, sit down and write down shit to say at the beginning. Anyway, let's face it, it's probably, I've gone through the files again, the image files, and I realized, oh wait, there's going to be a sex scene again. So we're just going to pull this up, and also because, let's face it, they're probably going to be butt naked, so yeah. It had taken considerable time to complete my journey from one end of Woodcrest to the other, arriving at the hot springs with mere moments to spare. Having braved the steep flight of stairs and located the unmarked path leading the rest of the way, I took a moment to soak in my surroundings following my arrival. Not at all unlike how I would soak in the piping hot waters of still minutes to come. Right? It really does. Anyway, let's find out if Diego is correct. Besides the pathway to which I had entered, the hot springs were bordered on all sides by a dense wall consisting of shrubbery and thick intertwined trees. Even a smaller person such as Axe would not have been able to squeeze through the gaps, much less my larger self. Thus, I found no obvious indication that the hot springs had been part of another property at any point. Of course, Dom and I already knew better, and I would have likely been disappointed by the lack of any breakthrough. But instead, I was far more interested in the prospect of relaxing in the steamy springs to rightly care. Looking around for somewhere discreet to get changed, I quickly laid eyes on a familiar face waiting close by who had similarly noticed me at the very same moment. Okay, thank God he's wearing pants. Hey, my dudes, good to see you. Hey, Russell, first one here. You know it. The other two said they were, on their way a while ago. Kinda thought they'd be here by now. Can't be, far off now. I see, and here I was thinking I was cutting it close. Better than being late, my dude. But, about last night. It was then I'd realized that I hadn't thought about Ty for a little while. Not since before I'd left home. For a moment, the knot in my stomach seemed as though it didn't exist. For a moment, it seemed as though things were normal instead of such a complicated and confusing mess. The uncertainty on Russell's face clued me into his feeling. He wanted to know the outcome, but fearing the worst, hesitated to ask the question. Luckily for him, he wouldn't have to, as I spoke up to fill him in on a rather unhappy conclusion. Do they? Hang on. I'm gonna Google this. I probably should have last night. Do sharks have 2 PP? Okay, Shark Week. We'll explore why sharks have 2 penises. Quick science lesson. Yeah, I just Googled it. Male sharks have 2 penises, which are really just 2 grooved organs used to deposit sperm in the general duct of sexually receptive female sharks. The organs are developed alongside the inner part of the shark's pelvic fin, and because there are 2 pelvic fins, there are 2 penises. Okay, so... The more you know... Hang on. Reading Rainbow. Hang on. Gotta do a thing real quick. Yeah, no. Should I, play the Reading Rainbow theme song? Because, the more you know. No. The what cover? TWRP. TWRP. What does that stand for? Team Win Recovery Project. Dom's Twerp is an open-source software custom recovery image for Android-based devices. It provides a touchscreen enabled. I have not. Remind me at the end of the stream to look into it. Yeah, I haven't. Well, the short version is you and I are no longer coworkers, and I'm no longer romantically involved with anyone. Aw, I am so, sorry, my dude. That's horrible, man. Are you, doing okay and stuff? Surprisingly, I am. I'm not sad or grieving or anything like that. I'm just mad. Which is, well, easier to parse, I suppose you could say. Any ideas why you, feel that way, my dude? You seemed like such a close-knit couple. I can't believe it doesn't hurt, at least, a little. I only have theories. The day before you and I met was the day we got back together. We'd run into some trouble before that time. It definitely hurt. And through all of this, he insisted on keeping certain things from you. Maybe I was prepared for it this time. Subconsciously, I was expecting it. Maybe because of that, my feelings never quite developed in the same way they had before. Are you sure, my dude? Because, from where I was sitting, you two seemed kind of made for each other. If I'm, completely honest, it was a little awkward at times. It felt like Axe and I were the third and fourth wheel. I was worried you'd get into some mischief and I'd have to, shield his eyes. At least you had, the decency to do it away from camp. Aw, hell, you did know after all. Of course, my dude, your cover story was totally flimsy, man. Sorry we had you set up camp while we were off frolicking. It was the least we could do. Without you guys, we'd never have been there, but... Never mind, my dude. That stuff is, not important or anything. You sure you're, doing okay, my man? I am. Thanks for the concern, Russell. Anytime, my dude. And for what it's worth, I'll miss working with you, even if it feels like only for a day. We'll keep in touch, right? Of course, we've got mutuals out the wazoo. I reckon we'll see each other often, even if only by pure accident. Rad, my dude. Hope that doesn't, mean you won't put in an effort or anything, though. Of course not. I'm looking forward to it. Me too, my dude. Oh, we've got company. Hey, Aiden. Hey, Russ. Oh, thank God they're wearing clothing. They're wearing clothes. Hey, guys. Well, look at the early birds. Hey, my dudes. And for, the record, we're not early. You dudes are just totally late. Dom quickly checked the time on his wristwatch in response to Russ's allocation, and the answer it gave was clearly something Dom hadn't anticipated. What do you know? So we are. Axel wanted to stop for ice cream along the way, and there was a bit of a line. Ice cream? Come on, Ax, you of all people know about the 30-minute rule. Of course, that's why I did it. It's never made me sick before. In cold water, sure, but what about in hot? I'm sure it'll be fine. It's just a silly myth to stop little kids messing up the pool. But why do you think they, mess up the pool in the first place, little dude? Oh, let it be known, you're now the second person to have warned him. First being yours truly, of course. I take no responsibility if anything happens. I don't know who to blame. It's either Ty or Spencer. I feel bad for, the owner of the place, my dude. Clearly puke out of a hot spring. Cleaning puke out of a hot spring ain't my idea of, a fun afternoon or whatever. Dom shrugged with a half-hearted smile, no doubt worried how things may proceed, but nonetheless hoping for the best. Russell just beamed his standard toothy smile before Dom spoke up once again, clearly eager to make a start on the next step of the process. Well, it's kind of chilly out, so the sooner we, don the appropriate attire, the sooner we can warm ourselves up. So tradition is tradition, right? Ready for action, my dudes, whenever you're ready. Where are the changing rooms? Well, you see, there are none. Oh no. Was that seriously the only one who recognized Dom's statement for what it truly was? It was dead clear that warming up was a secondary objective to him. His primary objective was instead one that would be fulfilled before we'd even reach the water. Of course, I couldn't be too hard on him. It was clear he'd been crushing on Axel for such a long time that it almost seemed odd that he hadn't yet gotten a peek, especially with them being so close. And weren't they now living together too? Besides, considering the tasks Diego had asked me of during this outing, I really couldn't judge, and perhaps permitting Dom to pursue his own terrible objectives would, by extension, assist in achieving mine? Regardless, I decided to have a little fun at Dom's expense by way of punishment for his own vile deeds. You sure seem eager, Dom. Looking forward to something? I mean, duh. I can't wait to hop in the water. I flashed Dom a sly grin whose meaning he clearly understood. I knew exactly what he was up to, and now he also knew what I knew, and also knew that I knew, which meant that I had him by his strings, powerless to resist any instruction or request I might have had. Thankfully for him, I would keep his intentions a secret, so long as he, in fairness to the others, took the lead. And besides, Diego had asked after Dom's specifications as well. Of course, and who could blame you, seeing as you're so eager to get started? Maybe you'd like to start things off? Dom held my gaze, the look in his eyes a subtle acknowledgement of my play and his concession to my terms. Of course, I wouldn't have told anybody regardless, but it was a good excuse to make him go first. I sure as hell didn't want to be. Alright, that seems fair. Dom took a deep breath to soothe his stage fright. Coming here was his idea, seeing Axel's junk was his primary motive. It was only fair, and he knew it. Okay. And naked. The scene that followed almost made me feel sorry for Dom. He stood before the three of us with each and every set of eyes fixated on his naked body. Axel looked on in surprise, or was it interest? Perhaps with a twist of satisfaction. It seemed as though he liked what he saw. Russell maintained a better degree of composure witnessing such a candid exhibition, his eyes wandering with little restraint, but his expression and body language remained largely unchanged. As for me, well, I too had borne witness to Dom's family jewels. You know, for science. It was one of 3 so far. Diego would be pleased, as several inches below Dom's... I don't want to read that. Except Diego, of course. He was just a freak of nature. Guys, can you not? Dom's hand briefly drifted towards his groin, his instinct to conceal himself from our prying eyes. Yet he stopped midway, returning his hand slowly to its former position, as he no doubt realized it was much too late. We'd seen it all. Truthfully, I felt bad for putting Dom in such an embarrassing situation, although I hadn't rightly expected everybody else to have as much of a disregard for his privacy as my own. Our reasons no doubt differed, of course. I suspected Russell's viewing to be a simple act of curiosity, while Axel's, perhaps he was seeing what the future might have in store. With that being the case, I was definitely the least creepy person here. For me, it was simply a matter of education. Education that would, in turn, educate another. If you really think about it, what I was doing was almost noble. Yeah, I didn't quite believe that was true, even though it was a nice attempt at self-deception. And comparing sizes? I'm not even going to read that last second part. Guys, stop staring and get undressed. Nobody responded to Dom's pleas, not least myself. Perhaps I was foolish to expect that after encouraging Dom to debut that he would not return the favor in kind. Aiden, I went first, so you have to go next. No arguments. I sighed while nodding a reluctant grin of defeat. I'd brought this on myself. Oh god. Were they all going to look at mine the same way? Would they like what they saw? Would it really matter if they did? I was single. Maybe one of them would like it so much they'd want to take it home with them? And say they did. Would I accept? Why not, right? Who's going to stop me? Ty? Feeling a surge of confidence and reckless abandon, I began to remove each article of clothing, and perhaps I'd look back on this and cringe someday. But I even deliberately slowed pace, my body coming into view piece by piece with what almost became a dance. Okay, let me hide the window. I don't know what's going to happen, so... Voila! With my underwear crowning the pile of freshly discarded clothing off to my side, I stood in the spotlight, my hips thrust forward and shoulders raised in a sort of confidence as my admirers looked on, their hearts and minds enthralled by me. Dude, what the hell is that all about? Huh? Dom's grounded response sent me crashing back down to earth. Feeling a little silly in response to my actions, I was cringing far sooner than I had anticipated. Guess I plucked up a little too much courage, huh? Sorry about that. What? No, it was funny. I liked it. It wasn't supposed to be funny. Oh, no, I don't mean... Meep. Pay them no mind, my dude. I thought it was totally, like, amazing. At least somebody appreciates my talents. Well, hurry up then. I'm not going to read that, I'm just going to have voiceover read that.
Self-voicing enabled. Aiden, at least somebody appreciates my talents. Well, hurry up then, rate me with your eyes already so the next person can start. Self-voicing disabled.
This isn't science. What? Harsh words, but not really that inaccurate. I guess I'm just too sexy for my own good, huh? You guys couldn't look away, and that set a precedent. I guess I don't mind, but only if... Dom paused mid-sentence to theatrically pivot in place, leaning forward with his cheek pinched between his thumb and forefinger. If somebody gave him a deerstalker hat, a magnifying glass, and a pipe, he'd easily have passed as an inspector. Everyone else gets the same treatment. Easy there, penis Inspector Dom. This is already all kinds of weird. The last thing you should be doing is making it worse. Dom smirked, his ridiculous act clearly having achieved the intended effect. A few moments passed while my companions made their assessments before Russell finally chipped in, advancing proceedings to the next stage. You know, my dudes, I remember the time something like this kept happening at high school. What? Explain. Well, like, the changing rooms usually got locked during lunch breaks, right? But for the first 10 minutes or so, it was left open for, like, stragglers who hadn't finished changing after their last class. I only found out when they grilled everyone over the intercom and started posting one of the relief teachers at the door before lunch even started. But apparently some guys would hide. They were so quiet that the teachers locked them in for the hour. And they sort of, like, you know, hosted their own anatomy lessons. What? Anatomy? Seriously, Axe, you didn't catch that, little dude? What do you think they were doing? They said they were playing with each other. I thought they were playing tag or something. Hey, what are you suggesting? We're not playing with ourselves. No, but like, I mean, they were supposed to be getting changed, but it kind of went somewhere, like, different. Kind of like us. Guys? I caught the group's attention, tired of being on display and wanting to restore some momentum to proceedings. Sorry, my dude, that's like on me. Well then, Axe, feeling confident enough to go next? Oh! It's okay, little dude, I'll go instead. Been kinda like psyched to one-up Aiden over here with a little performance of my own. Oh brother, here we go. Finally, it was Russell's time to shine. While Axel was still clothed, it was the question which Russell's nudity would answer that my bet with Diego was riding on. Of course, I was as sure I was right as Diego was, and the persistent bastard would finally have to accept my rent money. As my excitement and anticipation built, I experienced a brief moment of clarity as the consideration of just how weird and stupid this entire thing was virtually slapped me across the face. Okay, I'm gonna bring Bazinga Bird back up because that's about all it is. Hey, yo. Yo, is the stream shitting itself again? Let me try refreshing the page real quick. Yeah, we're back. I don't know what happened. But with an internalized shrug, I discarded that thought. I was far too invested in all of this to care, and I was about to prove that Diego was wrong. Ta-da! Wait a minute. Hey, that's no fair. You're barely naked at all. Am too. I can't, like, help my anatomy, my dude. It seemed as though Dom hadn't considered the possibility that Russell, being a shark, would have his arsenal tucked neatly away inside it, and Dom hadn't been alone. Diego and I had clearly forgotten that obvious detail, and because Russell had no protruding extremities, that meant... Damn it. You sound disappointed, Aiden. No, it's not that, I promise. You, have a lovely, I struggle to find the right word for it. On birds, that sort of thing was called a cloaca, right? And birds and lizards were kind of related in a weird way, so maybe it was the same for lizards too? But then, what about sharks? Was it still called a cloaca, or was it called... mangina, right? What the? Try as I may, I simply could not conjure words sufficient to express the extent of my disgust. Russ, you promised to stop calling it that. Look at all your faces. I wish I brought my phone with me. I'd take 1,000,000 pictures of you all. Priceless. Russ. Sorry, Axe. I know you hate it, little dude, but it's just too funny. How I wish there were a way I could just scorch that memory from my brain. Well, my dudes, I obviously don't have quite as much to show as you all. I mean, unless you want to get your hands dirty and go digging. Russ! I didn't think you'd want to. I had no idea you could be this crude. I was only joking, my dude. Hope you won't, judge me for it or anything. For a moment, this seemed like a missed opportunity. At least doing so would have revealed... the quantity of members Russell was equipped with. But even by today's bizarre standards, that was simply much too far. Well, that just leaves you, Axe. Just rip off the band-aid, my dude. Sooner it's done, sooner we're all in the water. Axel closed his eyes and balled his fists, his expression twisting into a look of distinct defiance. Okay, here goes. Dom's eyes widened with every piece of clothing Axel shed. He started with his shirt revealing his soft and creamy yellow belly to the waiting world. It was clearly something Dom had seen many times before, but something he had never gotten tired of. Then came his shoes, followed by his socks, which he then tucked into his shoes before placing them aside with his carefully folded shirt. Then came his pants. With every passing second, Dom's eager anticipation grew with intensity. Axel reached down and untied the bow in his waistband cord, then wrapping his fingers around the waistband proper and sliding them down. There. Axel, you're still wearing shorts. What? Now that's cheating. No fair. Beneath his shorts, instead of the expected pair of underwear, Axel wore a pair of swimming shorts, his nervousness clearly having conquered his courage and bravery. Well, you know what they say, the more things change. What do you mean? Axel was the one kid who was the last to leave the changing sheds. He'd wait until everyone else was gone before getting changed. The swimming coach would be yelling through the door, telling him to hurry up and everything. He's always been that way, ever since he was little. It's just the way it is for him, my dude. He's petrified of it. I see. You're gonna be wearing those into the springs, Axe? But it's against the rules. What about the dress code? You can't. Russell approached a clearly heartbroken and disappointed Dom and rested his hand upon his shoulder before shaking his head solemnly. It's okay, my dude. It's the only way he's going to feel comfortable. I heard what you said. Is it some kind of phobia? And how is this the first I've heard of it? Not a phobia. It's more of a severe insecurity. We were friends for 8 months before he felt comfortable enough to do it. But he can learn. You just need to be accommodating and supportive, my dude. But we've been friends for longer than that. I don't... But Aiden here is, new. And just because it took 8 months for me doesn't mean it'll be the same for you. Remember, we were in the swimming club together. He saw me naked 3 days a week, every week. Hold on. How do you even know I'm interested in him like that? Because you make it so obvious, my dude. If Axel and I went official someday, we would never be able to connect in that way. Could I even be patient for however long it might take? And how exactly can I work with him to fix this? First off, don't think of it as something you can just, fix, my man. The only way he's going to feel comfortable is if you, accommodate him. Encourage him. Have patience with him. Be open and available with him. And only move at his pace. He'll, let you know when he's ready, my dude. You're such an idiot. Hey, don't trick yourself. Hey, don't kick yourself, my man. You know, Axel was petrified of coming here today. He knew he couldn't bring himself to conquer that fear, especially with someone like Aiden here as well. Sorry, Aiden. No problem, I understand. What'd you do to convince him? Remember what I said about moving at his pace, my dude? Simple answer is, I didn't. He was torn up about it, all. He really wanted to be here today, to spend time with Aiden, and to spend time with you, especially Dom. So I might have suggested he wears whatever he feels comfortable in, and that it'd smooth things over with you dudes, on his, behalf. He was still shaking like a leaf at the thought, but he came along to spend time with his friends. So let's say we all, turn a blind eye to the rules. Forget tradition, forget all of that. We just do whatever we need to do so that Axel enjoys himself. Does that, sound like a plan, my dudes? I'm on board. Me too. Right on, my dudes. Russell beamed brightly at myself and Axel, petting us each on the shoulder with his massive scaly hands before approaching Axel, who now stood just out of earshot. The two became engaged in conversation, while Dom and I quickly followed suit. I feel like a total ass. You didn't know, Dom. If he never told you about it, you couldn't have been expected to. That's not what I mean. Shit, why did I even ask him here? To breach his privacy, to take advantage of the rules? He didn't want to come, and I put pressure on him. What the hell am I doing? It's such a low move. I kept justifying it to myself, making up excuses to somehow fool myself into thinking what I was trying to do here wasn't super fucked up. And it turns out he's so incredibly insecure about it. Hell, why did I even call you here? Try to pass it off as being part of this whole Spencer thing we're digging into. Was that actually anything to do with it at all? Originally, I just planned to come up here by myself, scope it out, strictly business. But I kind of wanted to check it out for myself, too, maybe invite some people along. It snowballed. I got carried away. I figured it'd be weird if it was just us, and with you and Diego being a part of this whole Spencer thing, I thought inviting you two would kind of make it less personal. I didn't know what I thought was going to happen. Maybe you'd both like what we saw, and maybe, just maybe, we could make something of that. So your plan was that you'd show him the weaponry, and he'd respond with some enthusiasm, and that he would stop at nothing to coax you into bed with him? It sounds even more stupid when you say it like that. It was pretty stupid, though, you gotta admit. Shit like that only happens in pornos. I know, you don't need to tell me. Point is, I feel like such a piece of crap. I did this for all the wrong reasons. Axel deserves better than that. I misled him, and I misled you too. I didn't expect to find anything up here, but it kinda sounds like you knew that, yet you came anyway. Why? Well, in terms of Spencer, it was at least worth a look, even if nothing came of it. But seeing my friends was another reason. As of yesterday, that was basically the crux of it, but then last night I broke up with Ty. Hold on, what? Last night? You never said anything! Sorry, when you called, Diego and I had been going over it for a bit already. He had multiple guys on the go, that's the gist of it. Multiple guys? I don't... And one of them was Spencer. Whoa, wait, really? Yes, that was one of the reasons I accepted your invitation last night. Another was that, well, I'm single now. Why the hell not get naked with a bunch of dudes? Can't do that in a relationship. Somehow that last bit doesn't seem like a great reason. Exactly, we both came here for the wrong reasons. That's just one of them. But what about Ty? Are you okay? Surprisingly, I am. Don't quite understand how, but I'm okay. That's not really what I want to think about right now, though. I understand. Another wrong reason I came along today was because of a discussion Diego and I had this morning. I don't know how bad Diego is with you, but he's got no filter and will talk about any old shit. Long story short, he thought sharks have two dicks. I thought they only had one, and we made a wager. And I was supposed to find out when Russell stripped. Of course, we're both idiots and forgot about the thing. Don't you dare repeat it. No, I'm not. Is it called a cloaca on a shark, or is it something else? I'm so confused, and whatever the hell it's called, how many dicks are tucked up inside it? I'm kinda Okay, I just googled it. Yeah, it's called a cloaca. Yeah, I just learned that. I have no idea for either question. Damn it, maybe I should just ask him and be done with it all. You can't just ask him that, can't I? If I asked you a question like that, would you be upset? I guess not. Depends on who asks, I guess. But if you'd let it slide, Russell definitely would. I get the feeling he doesn't give a crap about that sort of thing. Seems like a lot of trouble when you can just look it up online, but you do you, I guess. Diego is pretty opposed to it. Doesn't seem to have a lot of faith in the internet, but she followed up by saying cats have barbs on their dicks. What, barbs? No way, Axel couldn't possibly... I think he's wrong on that one. Ty didn't, anyway. Diego got super confused at this point, so he kinda asked that to take inventory here today, which hasn't gone the best. Russell has nothing to see, and Axel, well, you know full well. All that said, however, I'm about to call your bluff. Diego was doubting what you guys, foxes, had. Looks pretty clear-cut from the outside, but you said you'd be okay if I asked, so you've got a knot in there, right? Yeah, same as yours, I assume? Great, thanks, Tom. Wait, so let me get this straight. You literally came up here to look at everyone's junk? Not so loud, the other guys might hear, and it wasn't the reason I came up here. It was just something I planned to do all the while. Gotta be honest, I have no idea if you're bullshitting me right now with this stupid story, and I still feel like an ass, but I'm clearly in good company there. Gee, thanks. So what about Axel? Are you going to follow Russell's advice? I guess. It makes sense, and I have no better ideas right now. I still don't quite understand what he's hoping to achieve in all of this, though. Axel's his childhood best friend. He just wants his friend to be happy, and I guess he thinks you're the one who will. Me? But I'm an ass. Maybe a good ass is exactly what he needs. From what I've seen, he's already got one. That aside, thanks, Aiden. I guess we should see if the other guys are done talking. What's the point in a hot spring if you don't get in the water? Yep, let's go see. Both Dom and I turned in perfect unison before marching our companions, even donning matching uniforms like some kind of birthday suit militia. Russell and Axel turned to face us, each greeting us with a happy smile. Welcome back, dudes. Is everything like gravy? Gravy? Yeah, we're good, if that's what you're asking. I think it's as good as time as any to get wet, don't you agree? Yay! Rad, dudes, if there's no... The sound of canvas bag being thrown onto the floor captured the collective attention of our newly unified group. With Axel and Russell already facing the sound, both Dom and I spun in place to ascertain the source of the sound. It seemed as though we had some company. It's Logan. It's Ice Bear 2.0. Before us stood a polar bear, similar in size and stature to Diego, yet quite substantially more threatening. His sour expression did little, however, to offset the impact of his bright pink tank top, a choice of attire which made him almost seem cute and cuddly. Hello. Paying our presence no further mind, the bear immediately began to undress. First his shirt, promptly followed by his pants. Only a pair of snow-white briefs remained, almost impeccably camouflaged against his matching fur. I was transfixed, completely incapable of averting my gaze as my heart began pounding in anticipation. Slipping his thumbs beneath the elastic, they followed his hands as they descended to his feet. I was in total awe. In direct contrast to his creamy white... I don't want to read that. His figure was decidedly rotund, yet tastefully accented by an impressive foundation of musculature, and his flawless and silky coat was reminiscent of freshly fallen snow. I don't want to read all this. Where did he go? Are you alright? I look like you've seen a ghost. Oh, with a coat so pale and pure, he could quite easily have vanished like an alluring yet elusive phantom, obfuscated within the billowing steam which rose like smoke from the water. Of course, I was not prepared to see him go quite so soon. For in those moments, a single crucial detail had taken up residence in the forefront of my conscience. This detail promised to throw wide the many doorways through which I might proceed in stalking this newfound obsession of mine. And what, you ask, was said detail? It was merely the consideration that I was now a man unshackled by romantic obligation, an agent of amorous associations, a mutinous mercenary of lust without allegiance to anything or anyone bar my own selfish desires. And with that, without need for further contemplation, my prey had been chosen, yet not by any threat of conscious will, nor by any tangible logic or emotion. Instead, I gave chase, fueled by an insatiable predatory hunger, by unbridled primal lust. And if he and I found to be of the same mind, I would...
Self-voicing enabled. And if he and I found to be of the same mind, I would feast upon his rich delicacy, adrift in his bold, heady aroma, and there was nobody left who would stand in my way. Self-voicing disabled.
Aiden, snap out of it. Huh? You okay, my dude? We, lost you there for a bit. Oh, sorry, I, got a little lost in thought there. Russ told me about what happened with Ty. Sorry if I was meant to keep that, a secret, my dude. It's just, you've been acting totally strange all day. Axel picked up on that. I don't know what else to say. Oh, that's okay. I just told Dom, so I guess we all know now. I didn't want to bring it up. I guess that you probably didn't want to think about it, but you just were, Interestingly, I hadn't been, but I was nonetheless thankful for the flawlessly timed call back to reality. In the immediate aftermath of such a mental escapade, it helped to give perspective on the absolute lunacy of my own train of thought. I knew not even where to begin when it came to making sense of what I had just thought, what I had just felt. It was entirely unlikely, and yet I draw immediate parallels to the night of the camping trip, to when we had ventured away from the group, to when the hunt began, and how I captured my prey bound and vulnerable on the forest floor. His scent sending shivers up my spine, and any possibility of mercy was soon extinguished by his defiance. Back then, in Ty's company, it all made some kind of strange sense, but this time made none. The subject was a total stranger, the onset so rapid, the obsession so relentless. Even now, as my actions made zero sense with the benefit of hindsight, the inexplicable remained, dulled by reason and restraint, but nonetheless so frighteningly potent. I could not begin to make heads or tails of it. What was happening to me? Had this always been a part of me? If so, why had it only just begun rearing its ugly head? Had Ty unknowingly disturbed the slumber of some darker side of my personality? Or perhaps he was the one who put it there to begin with. This is so fucking awkward. Oh my god. All this time, I had been fortunate to have company. What would have happened if that had not been the case? What would I have done? Would I have been able to control myself? I had so many questions, and yet the worst part of it all seemed to be my very own hypocrisy. I recalled the words I had spoken to Dom only shortly before the arrival of our guest. I had witnessed the weaponry, and my response carried such enthusiasm that, had I not come to my senses, I would have stopped at nothing to coax him into bed with me. Perhaps that sort of thing didn't just happen in porn after all. Maybe all it took was a horny, clearly sex-crazed lunatic like me. Aiden? I think we lost him again. Oh, sorry. Don't worry about it. I'm fine. Are you sure? You don't seem so sure. Yeah, sorry if I'm making you guys worry. I've gotta ask, do you know that guy? The bear, I mean. Nope, never seen him before in my life. But I have. Oh yeah, that's right. Really? When? Where? Okay, so you know how I said coming here would be good for my bruises, right? After the fight yesterday? You did say that, yes. That polar bear's name is Logan, and he's the one who, gave me those bruises. Ah, I see, and Axel was there watching. I get you. I tried talking to him after the match, wouldn't speak, a word to me, man. I guess he's just, super shy or something, huh? I don't know, he sure seemed comfortable undressing in full view of the four of us. Maybe he's just the type to talk with his fists instead? Yeesh, he did a lot more than just, talk, my dude. Guys, can we continue chatting in the water? We've been standing here forever. Axel's right, there's no reason we can't chat in the water instead of standing naked on the shore like a bunch of weirdos. Logan's in there, my dudes. If he does talk with his fists, I hope he doesn't, join in on our conversation. I'm with you guys. Our group shared a collective nod before Russell and Axel took the lead, making the way over to the shoreline and hopping into the water. Thinking about my conversation with Dom before, in the context of everything that I'd been through recently, there's something I couldn't quite make sense of. Hey Dom, can I ask a question? Is it about my junk again? Nah, next time I'll have Diego do his own damn research. Actually, it's probably more a series of questions. They're about you and Axel. Oh? Alright, shoot. How do you think Axel feels about you? As in what? For example, do you think he views you as a friend? Perhaps he views you as a crush. Maybe even something more complicated? Why do you ask? Because something just doesn't add up. Maybe I'm just missing some detail, but I don't know. I'm just trying to understand, that's all. Okay, well, Axel has had a crush on me for quite a while now, but we're also best friends. I guess that's the long and short of it. That's what I thought, and that's why I'm confused, because you're both so into one another. Thought at first it was one of those cute situations where both sides feel the same way, but nobody quite has the guts to say anything. And I know that's true, at least for him. He doesn't know quite how you feel, but you like him, and you know he likes you too, yet despite your clearly liking him a lot yourself, you just... Why haven't you made a move? It seems like a slam dunk. It can't be nerves. After all, you just got nude in front of him. And clearly you were worried at first about Russell. Worried you lose Axel to him. But even then, you still won't say anything. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure you have your reasons and everything. I just want to understand. So, what gives? My words rang out only to travel a short distance before being struck down by the sounds of chatter between Russell and Axel, happily discussing between themselves as they soaked in the piping hot water. It was unusual for Dom to maintain such a silence. At the very least, he would typically offer some indication that a thought was in progress, yet now he merely stared ahead, his eyes focused on nothing in particular. I continued waiting. Perhaps Dom was caught in some kind of tangent or mental. It happened to me all the time. Surely I could not be the only one. I decided to speak once again, hoping to snap Dom out of whatever state he was in. Dom, are you okay? Yeah. This question received a response, but Dom's position remained otherwise unchanged, his eyes still fixed in that particularly empty space across the other side of the springs. It was only then when I began to lose hope that Dom finally offered me some kind of answer. It's complicated, Aiden. I don't doubt it. Did you feel up to talking about it? If I ask you to tell me the full story between yourself and Ty first, what would you say? Shit. I guess it's something I'm trying not to remind myself about, and I haven't quite managed to make any sense of it myself just yet. There's a lot of questions that still have no answers. All I've got are disparate and broken pieces. I feel the same way about the answer to your question. It's a confusing and painful mess. I don't want to dredge it up. I'd never heard anything quite like this from Dom until this very moment. If he had some kind of complicated history, I was certain I'd at least have heard something, even if only in passing. Diego and Dom had been friends for quite some time now, and he'd never said anything of the sort. And come to think of it, neither had Dom's very own best friend. Axel doesn't know, does he? No. Is it something he wouldn't like? No, it's nothing like that. I guess I'm just scared. Scared? From where I sit, it looks as though Axel has your back no matter what. He admires you, Dom, respects you. I bet there isn't a single thing you couldn't say to him. Dom sighed before taking several steps in the direction of the hot spring. Clearly, this wasn't the time or the place, and Dom was outright refusing to have this discussion. But just when I thought the curiosity would be my undoing, he stopped, turning back towards me and spoke. People once said the same thing about Ethan and me. Who the fuck's Ethan? With those final words spoken, he took his final steps leading towards the hot spring before hopping in without delay, moving into a position close by where Axel was sitting, but still allowing a respectable distance between them. Ethan. Certainly a name I had not heard before. Dom had provided very little in the way of concrete information, but combined with the context of our discussion, it wasn't difficult to imagine just what might have transpired. With naught left to do but join my friends relaxing in the springs, I approached the shoreline and surveyed the available positions. From many possibilities, a single position stood out. This position was situated not overly far away from where Dom was presently sitting, although I had no intention of pursuing our discussion further. At least not today. Instead, it was who sat directly opposite that location which served as my motivation. It was perfect, and with my decision made, I eased myself down into the steamy waters, their almost uncomfortable warmth very nearly overcoming my senses as I shifted to my position and sat myself down, directly opposite one very handsome polar bear. Dom, I've been meaning to ask, why are you always on your computer so late recently? Huh? Before we moved in together, I kept seeing you online really late. I thought maybe you've just left your computer on, but now we're living together. I go to pee in the middle of the night and your light is still on. Oh, I'm researching stuff, Woodcrest history and all that. Oh wow, really? That's right. Did you know this hot spring used to be built on the grounds of this old mansion? It was knocked down a long, long time ago. The hot springs are all that's left now. A mansion? Cool, but what's the research for, though? Oh, I could imagine the gears in Dom's head turning as he strained to conjure a believable excuse on the spot. I guess I'm just curious. Woodcrest will be 100 years old soon. It's interesting to look back and see where it all began. Cool. I really like it here in Woodcrest. Will you show me some of your research one day? Oh, sure thing, Axel. I'm tied up tonight, but maybe tomorrow night I can show you some stuff. Oh, no can do. I'm visiting my parents back home tomorrow. Ah, well, another time then. Oh, say hi to them for me. Oh no, if I say that, she's gonna think we're dating again. Ha, I remember that. Didn't matter what we, said to her or anything. She believed it for months. Forget I said, anything, little dude. Don't want her giving you a hard time and pulling your cheeks like she always used to do. Oh, I hate it when she does that. Totally, dude. You used to get so mad. Oh, hey, Logan, you awake over there? Me? Yeah, you haven't forgotten me, right? You gave me a right trouncing yesterday. I approached you after the fight too, but I guess you were kinda, busy or something, huh? I didn't, offend you or anything, did I? No. Oh, good. So, I gotta admit, I feel bad for wasting your time like that. I was just kind of fighting for fun, not really taking it seriously, and boy did it show. But it was, such a pleasure watching you perform, my dude. You were seriously incredible. See, what the heck is that? What you just posted on there. I have to Google that. but it was like such a pleasure watching you perform, my dude. You were seriously incredible. I think you'll totally win the tournament fighting like that. Sorry if I'm bothering you, my dude. It's okay. Russell's second attempt to engage Logan in conversation fell similarly flat to how he had described his first day beforehand. Perhaps Russell wasn't such a great conversationalist after all. So, Dom, how's the new apartment treating you? How's living with Axel? The way I hear it, you two dudes have been trying for one for like ever. Oh, it's been good. My last apartment didn't have central HVAC, which was rough during the summer and winter. This one does. Wrong season for it right now, but I'm excited to spend all the winter all cozy. Nice. What else do you like about it? Well, my old apartment had a crappy cooktop that was really slow to heat and uneven. This one has a nice induction and heats up in a flash. The oven is good too. It means I can cut back on takeout. Also, the internet is a big plus. I'm a bit of a geek. Yeah. I feel that a little too well. Also, the internet is a bit plus. I'm a bit of a geek. Have tons of gadgets and stuff like that. The internet at my old place ran along the old copper lines. Was way too sluggish for my liking. New one is fiber optic. Axel doesn't need fast internet, so I'm paying the extra to get the 4 gigabit connection. It's kind of overkill, and a bunch of my stuff can't even go that fast, but I'm working all these crazy hours for Lucas, so why not? I've got the cash for it. Nice. Sounds like you guys have a great setup. Almost. We've only just moved in. We're still finding all these things we need to buy. We've got all this extra space and plenty of time to, just hang out and whatnot, so we're making a list of things to fill that space and time. For instance, I don't have a lot of time for it, but I like to play video games here and there. There are heaps of games that Axel wants to play, but he doesn't have anything to play them on, so he's going to need a PC, or we're going to need a console. Really, Ax? After all these years, you still haven't bought something of your own? Yeah. It was kind of like that when we were kids, too. I had this old console. It was basically as old as I was. My parents never really wanted me to have anything more than that. Wanted me to play outside, as those sorts of parents do. Axel's parents were no different. But, that was all we needed, my dude. It may have been old, but it was the best-selling console up until quite recently. Massive library of great games, especially then you could get dirt cheap. Didn't have online or anything like that, just us and 2 controllers. Usually my parents were cool so long as we spent the afternoon out somewhere. Let us spend the night on it. My best memories were actually of us playing turn-based RPGs. We stayed up on weekends and school holidays until 5 a.m. just taking turns in the fights. We sort of split the characters between ourselves and swapped the controller when it was our turn. This one time, we got stuck on this boss for weeks. It consumed us. On our lunch breaks at school, we'd try and figure out strategies. We kinda had to old school it. Neither of us had internet as kids. You can imagine how mad Axe was when some kid in our class told us his weakness, especially seeing as we were so close to figuring it out ourselves. Still, lots of good memories. If I'm welcome, I'd love to come join you dudes when you get set up. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, maybe we could. Axel hasn't quite decided whether he's getting a PC or we're splitting a console yet. The PC is more useful, but a lot more expensive. Gives us more options, though. Have you got a PC? Nah, my dude. But, you seem to know your stuff, right? You could, help me pick one out. Pick one out? Please. You're much better off building your own. That way you get one that's built specifically to your budget and specifically for your needs. Yeesh, build ones? That sounds, super complicated, my dude. You'll teach me, right? Sure, but you owe me a lunch. It's a deal, my dude. I stood corrected on my previous assessment of Russell's conversational abilities. For a while, Dom had treated Russell with a degree of suspicion, keeping him at something of a distance, yet Russell managed to score a home run, finding just the right topic to get their discussion flowing. Of course, it takes 2 to tango. Despite still harboring some doubt, Dom had quite clearly been receptive to Russell's attempt at bonding. Perhaps if such success were to continue, the two would eventually become friends themselves. Axel would certainly be happy if they did. Looking over towards him, I noticed that his expression was indicative that something was not quite right. Only seconds after, Russell turned towards Axel and very quickly recognized this himself and leapt into action, addressing the unfolding situation. What's up, little dude? You're not looking so good. Oh, I'm not. Axel? I don't feel so good. You see, I knew stopping for ice cream was a bad call. Maybe you should hop out of the water and get some, fresh air, little man. I bet the heat ain't helping. Here, I'll help. Oh. Russell climbed to his feet and began moving towards Axel, only for Dom to stop him in his tracks. I've got this under control, Russell. I think I've had enough hot springs for the day anyway. It's probably best if I take Axel home. Are you sure, my dude? I'm like totally happy to help if you need. Thanks, but we'll be okay. Worst comes to worst, I can carry him a little way. He's pretty light. Alright, dude. You guys, like, get home safely, you hear? We will. And thanks to the both of you for coming. We had a fun time, right, Axel? Ooh, yeah. Thanks, guys. Russell and I watched on as Dom sat himself beside the sickly cheetah and lifted his arm around his neck. He then stood, helping Axel up with him as they slowly climbed free of the water and went to retrieve their belongings. Okay, I feel like I can, like, show the window. It was, like, hidden for, like, most, if not all, of the stream. Russell and I watched on as Dom sat himself beside the sickly cheetah and lifted his arm around his neck. He then stood, helping Axel up with him as they slowly climbed free of the water and went to retrieve their belongings. Axel's wooziness seems to have taxed his strength, something that was obvious as Axel leaned a considerable portion of his weight on his dependable cohort. Despite the scenario stemming from his swimwear, he clearly still trusted Dom a great deal. Gone. Reduced to atoms. I hope that Dom would respect Axel's insecurities and give him all the time and space he needed, but then again, an aspect of his own hang-ups caught my focus. It struck me that despite his interest in Axel, when he reflected on his misguided intentions, he spoke in purely physical terms. Maybe that was all he was up to himself. Whatever happened between himself and this Ethan, it sure didn't sound good. It was hardly my place to interfere, but I genuinely hoped the two would iron things out soon. Following the recent departures, this led to myself, Russell, and Logan sharing the hot springs together. Logan sat there comfortably, largely ignoring all the commotion and his immediate surroundings. Of course, when Russell decided to address him once again, he was left with little choice. Having seen Russell's success in thawing Dom's somewhat icy exterior, I was on the edge of my seat, eager to learn the arts of fruitful conversation and bonding from someone who quite clearly came across as a master of the art. So, Logan, do you, come here often? Seriously? The classic do you come here often line. Was that it? I got that Logan was hardly easy to talk to, but even I could have done better than that. Although I was curious as to why Russell was being so persistent with him. Was it really that he was impressed by his allegedly extensive combat talent? Or perhaps Russell was after the very same thing that I was, and would serve him as some healthy competition? With a sound like that, I could hardly blame him. Then again, I remembered what he'd said when we were camping. On land, he could hardly smell to save his life. Then again, we were submerged. At least in part. I wonder what would happen if were he to slip his nose to the surface, even just for a moment. Often, sometimes, most days during the tournament. I see, I gotta admit, I was feeling a little like worse for wear after the thrashing you gave me yesterday, my dude. This has helped. I guess that's why you came, why you come here. Although I'm sure you don't have any bruises on account of me. A couple, from when you hit me with your tail. Really? It seemed like my tail just bounced off, my dude. If that hurt, you sure didn't show it. It seemed as though Logan was not inclined to show any sort of emotion at all. That being said, I don't necessarily get the vibe that he was grumpy or rude. Then again, Dom's words earlier also made a lot of sense to me. Maybe he was just weird? I didn't rightly know, but I intended to find out. Hey Logan, I haven't properly introduced myself yet. My name's Aiden. And I've been meaning to say, I admired your confidence back there when you just stripped in full view of everyone like you just didn't care. I didn't. I just wanted to get in the water. Right. Gotta respect the tradition, eh, my dude? Did he really just not care? I guess he had no reason to be nervous. We were mostly all naked ourselves at the time, and here for the same reason he was. Not to mention being adorned with such incredulously fine equipment surely helped as well. If you've got it, flaunt it, and he sure as hell had it. Retrieving my one-note mind from its latest digression, I regretfully conceded that my most recent attempt at sparking conversation had been little more than a complete failure. Instead, I welcomed the return of an all-too-familiar awkward silence as Russell and I scrambled to find another topic to discuss. So, you're amazing in the ring, and that much is totally clear to me. What else do you do, my dude? Where do you work? What are your hobbies? Why are you so interested? Oh, I guess I just find you amazing as well. I don't want to know the man behind the fighter, whatever. Logan's impenetrable expression remained entirely unfazed, as though Russell's heartfelt compliment had made no impact whatsoever. We're not bothering you, are we, Logan? If we are, we'll leave you be. We're just trying to be friendly, that's all. Another of Logan's characteristically lengthy pauses followed, and Russell and I watched on with bated breath. desperately hoping he'd respond with something, anything at all. I don't have a job. I do other things, like crafts. I sell them at the markets on Saturdays and Tuesdays. Ah, so I take it that's where you were before you came here then? The market just down the hill by where the festival is held, right? Yes. What kind of crafts, my dude? Knitting, crochet, painting. Interesting. I'll have to totally swing by then when I'm not working and check it out. So what about the fighting then? Is that a career or a hobby? A job. A job? I don't like fighting much. Surely you don't, mean that, my dude. You're so, good at it. I bet you could totally go pro with skills like that. People always say that. Still don't like doing it. I guess you're in it for, the prize money, huh, my dude? Maybe he just likes punching guys like you in the face. Hey. Maybe a little. He smiled. I couldn't believe it. My dumb joke done purely at Russell's expense had somehow procured a reaction. Judging by Russell's face, he was about as shocked as I was. This was my opening. I shot to transition into a topic which would hopefully help me to require information I would find more useful. Of course, I wasn't much of a conversationalist myself, so I couldn't quite be sure if my scheme would achieve the desired effect. Despite my criticism of Russell before, he was no doubt better equipped for this sort of thing than I was. I only hoped that my forthcoming attempt wouldn't wind up being embarrassing. Beneath the simmering tide, I crossed my fingers, desperately praying that my gambit would return some kind of green light. After all, I had become incredibly intent on pursuing him. Of course, his personality hadn't necessarily been the lure. Although I certainly was curious to see how deep the rabbit hole might go, the honest truth was that my interest in Logan was so far something far more carnal, a product of raw animalistic attraction. I had chosen my prey, and I had no intention of letting him pass me by so easily. And my dog is sleeping in bed right now. It's adorable. He's resting on my pillow, and it's fucking amazing. Did you grow up in Woodcrest, Logan? Mostly. Been here since I was 3. I see, both Russell and I just moved here ourselves. Russell came up from Somerville. I moved all the way from Sardinia. You like living here, Logan? It's okay. Only okay? I really like it here. It hadn't all been smooth sailing. Started working somewhere in town. Long story short, I had a bit of a thing with the boss that ended badly. So now I'm newly single and down a job. Despite that, though, I still really like Woodcrest. What about you? I know you don't have a job or anything, but surely someone as good looking as you has to run a place like this, right? Bet you could have anybody that you wanted, huh? Not really. You don't mean you're single? With that handsome face? Say it isn't so. As I wrapped up my previous sentence, I couldn't help but cringe to myself, realizing the obvious similarities between my flirt and the sort of thing that Ty would typically have employed. But that wouldn't matter, so long as I received the answer to my question. Yes. Bingo. A subtle smirk spread across my face, something that Russell clearly observed, before returning a look of concern, mixed with mild disapproval. Maybe it was that we were competing for the same guy, or perhaps his concern was born from another reason. Yo, how do you spell disapproving? Hi, welcome back to Sileo, the game where we bullshit. Bingo, a subtle smirk spread across my face. Undeterred, I racked my brain for how I would then proceed. I was counting on Logan being as gay as the rest of Woodcrest seemed to be, a fact that was incredibly appealing, yet so very horrifying when put into its intended context, as Spencer had ordained me to educate me on. I considered that with Logan so withdrawn and cold in response to our attempts at forging a friendship, I wouldn't have had a shit show in hell of convincing him to meet with me to enjoy some quality time. No, high quality time would be more accurate. Tools of such quality should never be undersold. Thus, I set about finding a mutual hobby that the two of us could bond over. Topics like knitting and painting were no-go, as I knew precisely nothing at all about either. Video games seemed to be a dud given his response or distinct lack thereof when Russell and Dom had discussed them earlier. I looked him up and down, trying to imagine what someone like him would enjoy. Where would he go? What would he do? So I was wondering. I'm new to town, like I said, and I don't know many places to eat. Any recommendations, Logan? Where's good? Russell's disapproval was cranked up to 11. Clearly, he had seen the disastrous logic which had landed me on this topic, but it hardly seemed like he had any better ones. It was at least worth a go. There's Mama Mia's, opposite the fountain in town. Best pizza around. Logies on the pier if you like seafood. Red Lantern in the mall. The lady is kind of mean, but the food is good. I couldn't believe it. Was I dreaming? Both Logan and Diego were scared of the lady at Red Lantern. No doubt Logan enjoyed a similar pastime of piling his plate as high as it could go. I pondered to myself whether I should introduce Logan to Diego, but nah, I wanted this boy all to myself, at least for now. That aside, the primary source of my disbelief came from the fact that my ridiculous and risky gambit was somehow paying off. I sat there, my mind awash with my indecent anticipations. Logan continued rattling off his recommendations unprompted. Something which informed exactly what my next move was going to be. On the south end of town, on the road that leads to Somerville, there's a place that sells Cronuts. Ty's Bar sells great nachos, great chicken parmesan too. Yeah, I think I'll give Ty's Bar a miss. What else have we got? Still can't say that.
Self-voicing enabled. Logan, Café du Vieux Monde has fantastic pastries. Self-voicing disabled.
I immediately recognized the name as being the cafe in which Jay was employed, and yet inexplicably I felt as though there was some other detail which I'd skipped over along the way. Something where I simply hadn't connected the dots. I racked my brain, desperately trying to decipher what it was. Oh shit. Am I surprised I'd spoken aloud? Café du Vieux Monde, Sebastian du Vieux Monde. The surname was something entirely unique, at least in this part of the world. Neither myself, Dom, nor Diego had any clue where such a name could have come from. Surely it couldn't be a coincidence. I guess it made some kind of sense. If Sebastian was one of Woodcrest's founders, naming a cafe after him hardly seems like a strange move. Nonetheless, the fact that Sebastian bore such an uncanny resemblance to Spencer while sharing the very same initials, my gut told me it was at least worth a look. Incidentally, this fit flawlessly with my other intentions. Kind of like how the hot spring had. Though I had necessarily known that at the time, nonetheless, I was very keen to hit two birds with one very well-aimed stone. Sorry, I just remembered the strawberry pancakes I ate there a while back. They were super good. Did either of you want to go there for lunch after this? Sorry, my dude, I'm covering at work today. A certain somebody has band practice and would prefer if a certain dingo was not left to run the place solo. Russell's friendly smile was undercut by a look which implied dishonesty. I didn't doubt that he had worked this evening, but the timing didn't seem quite right. I suspected that his reasons for declining my invitation were not as he had said. Truthfully, this worked in my favor. I wanted to spend some time alone with my precious bear, time in which I could put my very best moves to use, hoping to secure a very sort of one-on-one time later that same evening. Oh well, maybe next time then. What about you, Logan? Logan did not respond right away, instead taking the time to carefully consider my proposition. Honestly, I was a little surprised it was even on the table. He hasn't seemed particularly amused by my company thus far. Sorry, I can't afford it. My heart sank a little, but I had yet to surrender. After all, not being able to afford it was the issue easily fixed. And it's my treat. Come on, you're not going to let me go all on my own, are you? Logan returned to his careful deliberation as he considered my offer with its newly updated terms. Perhaps he wasn't all that similar to Diego after all. If he were, I'd be in the process of being dragged out of the hot springs and in the direction of lunch already. Can I order a platter? I feel like this might be risking it a bit. Let me check something. Okay, cocks are covered. Yeah, we're safe. Literally, you can't make that up. They're literally like, can I order a platter? A platter? How much does that cost? $49. $49. $49! Who the heck could even afford such a thing? Where was I going to get the money? Damn money from? I suddenly recalled a scenario from that morning. A scenario which prompted either $200 of money I had not accounted for, or Diego's acceptance of my fair share. All of a sudden, with the consideration of what a mere quarter of that might be worth, it almost seemed like it might have just been a win-win situation. That was without considering just what I'd have to do to settle that wager once and for all. I glanced over at Russell, who appeared relaxed and at ease as he reclined backward lazily. I sighed, disappointed in myself for having allowed things to get this far, although I supposed it was hardly the worst thing I'd done today. I cleared my throat before finally speaking up. Hey Russell, can I ask you a really awkward question? Awkward? What's like awkward about it, my dude? Shoot, I guess. Okay, so Diego have this weird disagreement happening. He seems to have it in his head that, I don't judge, my dude. Well, maybe that's, like, not entirely true, but you know what I mean. Diego seems to think that sharks actually have 2 dicks. I think that's an old wives' tale, and we kind of made a bet over it. A bet? Now that is, like, a weird disagreement, my dude. How, like, irresponsible. Yeah, I was kind of hoping you could settle that dispute on our behalf. And sure thing, my dude. Truth is, you're both, like, sort of right. Eh? It comes down to species, just like how you're a husky and Diego is a dingo. We're both canids at the end of the day, my man. Sharks are kind of like that, too. There's a bunch of different types, both wild and, like, civilized. As it happens, both arrangements are, like, super common. Almost an even 50-50, actually. Shit, that doesn't settle the dispute, though. I scratched my chin trying to figure out how we could settle this dispute. Of course, I already knew the answer. What a terrible, horrible answer it was. The original plan had just been to use Russell as our specimen. If I had just asked Russell directly, I never would have known that both of us were right. And if it weren't for our obvious anatomical oversight, there would have been a single answer we'd taken as gospel. Today had well and truly gone right off the rails. I shook my head as I considered just how ridiculous this entire situation had become. But thankfully, Russell seemed particularly amenable to this topic of discussion. I decided to shoot my shot. Okay, this question is going to be even worse than the last one, but I was going to look it up on the net, and Diego was just like, you're about to see Russell naked, so just look at his. We forgot you had, you know, please don't say that. My lips are, like, sealed, my dude. Thank God for that. So anyway, now it turns out we're both right. We're kind of at an impasse. Is that such a big, like, deal, man? It is because I've been trying to give Diego rent money for the last, shit, I don't know, a week, and he keeps returning it every time. It's turned into petty war that keeps escalating, and it's just gotten totally out of hand. If he won the bet, I had to keep my money, but if I won, he had to accept it. That is, like, the weirdest dilemma, my dude. But I get you, people who won't let you chip in are, like, super frustrating, man. Exactly, so I am so sorry for asking you this, but I think whatever you've got is the most sensible tiebreaker here. Sounds good to me, my dude. Swim on over, reach right in, and find out. I was somewhat impressed. For the second time today, we'd managed to get some kind of reaction out of Logan. Admittedly, it was a pretty lowbrow joke. Wait, he was joking, right? You are joking, right? Honestly, I was, but like, if you'd have come over and done it, I'd have been cool with that too. I probably shouldn't, what with poor Logan over there and everything. That's alright, he can go after. Everybody's welcome.
Self-voicing enabled. Russell, that's alright. He can go after. Everybody's welcome, my dudes. Self-voicing disabled.
I'm done. I'm done. Dude, easy, you're going to give the poor guy a heart attack. Sorry, Logan, my dude. Didn't mean to, like, make you uncomfortable or anything. It's okay. Well, if you don't want the hands-on lesson, I guess I'll just have to tell you. The shark is packing.
Self-voicing enabled. Russell.
I'm done.
The shark is packing twins.
I'm done.
My dude. Day 14. Set.
Done. Done.
Self-voicing.
Oh my god, that was awful. That was awful. I'm done. Shit. Damn it, Diego. Thwarted again. Seriously, Russell had 2 dicks? Damn, all that even... Yes, Logan, you can have a platter. Does that mean you'll come along? At long last, I saw Logan break into a smile. His mood elevated by the prospect of having an entire platter all to himself. Seriously though, $49. What the hell had I gotten myself into here? And could Logan even finish that much food? Buy one, get one free. And that's all I'm going to say about Russell. Just buy one, get one free. Yes. Score! I'd Logan all to myself, at least for now. I could only hope that my flirting game was up to snuff. Ty was nothing if not a highly successful flirt. As much as I loathed the idea, I was rather hopeless to flirt under my own steam. If copying Ty's homework was a way to get what I wanted, then copy Ty's homework I shall. And in a way, after the shit he pulled, landing some tail using his very own book of tricks seemed almost too good to pass up. When are we going? Excited, huh? Well, we could go right now if you'd like. I need to go home first. I've got some food in my slow cooker. If I turn it down now, I can have it for dinner instead. Fair enough. I'd love to spoil your dinner. I've always got errands I can run in the meantime, Russell. You wanna roll out too? Yeah, my dudes. Any more of this and I'd be shark fin soup. Let's get out and get decent. With three of us in agreement, we all got up and got out of the hot springs, making a beeline towards our separate piles of clothing. Oh, thank God they have pants on. Oh, thank God. Freshly clothed, three of us regrouped together with Logan, wasting as little time as possible. Perhaps excited about his up-and-coming pastry platter. I'm going to go now. Sweet, does 3 p.m. sound good for you? Yes. Great, I'll see you at the cafe then. It was good properly meeting you this time, my dude. Sorry if any of this was, weird. It's okay. Nice meeting you, too. With a meek and half-hearted wave farewell, Logan turned away and made his departure from the hot springs, and as soon as he was out of earshot, Russell spoke up. My dude, what was all of that about? Sorry if I stepped on your toes. No, that's not what I'm getting at, my dude. Are you sure? You seem kinda interested in him. I mean, sure, he's hot and all that, but man, he's so stiff. No, still not what I'm getting at, my dude, and you know it. I just can't imagine dating someone like that. It's like dating a brick wall or something. I admit, the guy's social skills are sorely in need of some work. Even you totally struggled to get him talking. Can't believe that totally lowbrow food topic actually worked. That's just depressing, my dude. It is, a little, but hell, it bought me some more time to butter him up like crazy. You know, I've got to ask, my dude, what's the deal? What do you mean? You and Ty broke up, last night. It hasn't even been a day, and you're, already trying to replace him, and barking up one hell of a wrong tree in the process. I admit, I'm surprised by it all, too, but I took one look at him, and that was it. I know what I'm having for dinner tonight. Dinner? Are you planning to take him to, a restaurant or something? Oh, poor Russell. Oh, poor sweet Russell. No, I mean, he's my dinner tonight. I'm having him. I hope you're not one of those cannibal types. My dude. Come on. You know that's not what I meant. Yeah, you're right, my dude. I guess I'm just kind of avoiding the elephant in the room. You sure seem to love Ty a lot, my dude. It's kind of weird how, okay you are about it. And how you're out here chasing tail so soon. Can't explain it to myself, it's just how I'm feeling. And besides, Ty once said something to me, something about not letting a complicated and confusing situation ruin your shot at being happy. I guess I'm taking that on board. Is Logan what's going to make you happy, my dude? What are you hoping to get out of this? I don't know, a bit of exercise? So what, just a fling then? A rebound or something? I don't know yet, we'll see, but with how things have been, I don't think I want anything complicated. I guess I'm just worried, what if Logan is looking for something complicated? You're not gonna, lead him on to get what you want, right? My name isn't Ty, you know? Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I think we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. As things are right now, it's too early to really know anything for sure. And what about Ty? What about Ty? Are you confident in your choice? Are you sure it's over? If you somehow convince Logan to sleep with you tonight, would you feel guilty? Would you regret it tomorrow? I'm confident. Of course I'm confident. What else would I have done? And yeah, I was sure it was over when he knew that I would walk. And he still couldn't bring himself to tell me the truth. And why would I regret it? What possible reason would I have for regretting it? Ty and I are done. I have every right. And when someone that hot just strips his way into your life, sometimes you gotta take a leap lest that golden opportunity passes you by. What about you then? You're head over heels for him, dude. I just don't buy that it all fell apart and you're just okay about it. I don't quite understand it either. But it's better than being a miserable mess. At least this way I can get on with my life and leave that whole clusterfuck in the rearview mirror. And you've been acting kind of off today, my dude. You keep saying you're alright, but then you go all weird all of a sudden. And all these little things you've been saying and doing. Honestly, one of those times I was just fixated on Logan. Dude, his smell, holy shit. That's another thing, dude. That was kind of weird when Ty was doing it when we were camping. And you're all odor crazy too. What gives? What do you mean, what gives? Ty taught me some tricks, and it turns out there's a lot of stuff I hadn't taken time to smell before. It's amazing. I won't pretend to, like, know anything about that. You know I can't smell so good, but I've never seen people do that before. It strikes me as a little strange is all, my dude. I promise I would have thought so too. But now that I've taken the time, I'm sold on it. Shit's amazing. I'll take your word for that, my dude. Just please, be honest. You're sure you're, like, okay, right, man? I'm okay, Russell, and that's me being honest. Alright, my dude. Don't know if I rightly believe you, but I'm gonna give you, like, the benefit of the doubt. Thanks, Russell. I appreciate your concern, really, but I'm fine. Are you sure you don't want to come along to the cafe? Something tells me Logan's gonna need some help with that platter he's having. I'm not so keen on being, like, third wheel, my dude. Besides, I'll totally cramp your style. Not a third wheel, a wingman. And I don't know. Seems like I need all the help I can get if I want to get Logan talking. I'm crap at conversation. Maybe you could sit there tossing us conversation topics? No way, my dude. You got yourself in this mess. You're gonna have to get yourself out of it. You're not as bad as you think. You got the first smile out of him, remember? Alright. Guess I better bring my A game. Gonna butter me up some delicious bear. Good luck, my dude. I'm, like, rooting for you. A little jealous, maybe, but hey, it all seems like more trouble than it's worth. And be careful, okay? Don't do anything stupid, anything you regret. Measure twice, cut once, all of that. Feel me, my dude? I feel you, dude. I'll see you when I see you, Russell. Stay safe, Aiden. Russell smiled at me, the look of concern and doubt upon his face still so poorly concealed underneath. In opposition to his words, it seemed as though my own had done little to ease his fears. I suppose there wasn't a lot that could be done except proving him wrong. Luckily for us both, this is exactly what I intended to do. I smiled back at him with a great deal more certainty and confidence. He had nothing to worry about. It's not like I was doing anything wrong. A little fun never hurt nobody, right? Like those before me, I began my departure as I headed down the steep, tree-lined path that led towards the overlook. I then ventured down the even steeper stairwell which came out onto the street in the northern end of Woodcrest. I had some time while Logan tended to his dinner back home, so I had little choice but to burn some time. Perhaps I could even spend it looking up some cheesy one-liners. If I beat him over the head with enough, I was certain he would crack a smile eventually. We're gonna leave off here tonight. Ugh. What the fuck? I do not know how to feel. On one hand, it was like, on one hand, with Diego's whole, bet, it was, shark pee-pee go brrr. But on the other hand, Logan, and then we have Ty. My brain hurts. Anyways, not much else can be said. So, stay safe, have a good night, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.